One kind act changed my life. In order to tell you about that, I have to tell you about UCLA Medical Center. It's the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center. I was a chaplain there, and I worked in the emergency room overnight. And my shift was over at 7 a.m. At 6:50 a.m., I get a call, and a high school senior has been surfing in Malibu before school, and the waves crashed him into the sand, and they were concerned about his neck. And he was being flown by helicopter to UCLA. And so within just a couple minutes, I was walking into the back door of the emergency room while he was being wheeled in through the side door, and his father was walking in the front door. He had gotten a call. His father was tall, taller than me, big man, and he was a neck and spine surgeon. Wow. And he was beside himself. This is what he does for a living. This is who he is, and he can't help. He doesn't know. He's livid, and he wants to see the x-rays. I don't even know that they've taken the x-rays yet. I try to pray with him, and he says, finally, he almost grabs me by the lapels, but he says, "Can you get me the x-rays?" And almost sheepishly, I said, "I'm sorry, I can't." And then he put his finger in my face, and he said, "Then what good are you?" He couldn't have put a finer point on my issue, because in a hospital, what do people want from God? They want healing. If God's not going to heal me, I don't really have time for him right now. And my job is to bring God into the room. And I was wrestling with this question. If I can't heal people, what good am I? And boy, he nailed it. And that was on Monday morning. By Friday, things had gotten really bad. Bad week. I was wrestling with all of it. Never saw he or his son again during that week. But by the end, by Friday afternoon, I'd answered my own question. No good at all. And I didn't know what I was going to do, but I was not coming back on Monday morning. I was going to quit the program. Now at UCLA, there are very long hallways, and you walk by hundreds of people. But when you turn one particular corner, it's heading for the parking lot. And once you make that turn, you don't see anybody else. That's it. And so I went to make that turn, and somebody came and turned the opposite direction, and I ran right into his chest because it was that father. I literally ran into him, and I backed off, and I looked up at him, and with surprise and now shock and fear, I saw the same man, and he looked down at me, and his eyes were red from crying, and we just stared at each other, and recognition showed up in his eyes. He remembered who I was, and with the last ounce of anything I had, I said, "We are all praying for you and your son." And then he looked at me and he said, "That's all any of us can do right now." And then he took me in his arms like a bear and just squeezed me, and we both started to cry. And not only did I hear his words in my ears, but I heard God's as well. God said to me in that moment, "This is what good you are. You are my arms to hug those that I would hug. You are the one who sheds the tears that I would shed." And it changed my life. One kind act can change a life. Whose lives are we changing?